Well, good evening. Well, almost good evening, folks. Just a little bit of a catch-up. Nothing much going on at the moment. No national road rallies this year, they're all cancelled. So we are doing the Round Britain Rally again. Although I wasn't too sure really at the back end of the last one, last year, that I was going to do it. But there's nothing else happening. As I ride today, it is the South West Peninsula Spring Rally down the southwest of England. But I ain't quite fit enough for that, and things have been a bit of a rush, so I'll give it a miss again this year. So we're just doing the Round Britain Rally. This weekend is swap day, as is the norm around about springtime, I suppose. Usually Johnny for Smelly, Smelly for Johnny. This year it's Johnny for Smelly, because Johnny did a lot of work last year on Round Britain Rally rides and Dave Day, which was quite a mega ride, wasn't it? Those of you who was there, get used to the gearbox in stone. It's funny, I don't seem to have much bother with the GT Smelly and the gearbox and knowing what gear I'm in and all that. This one I seem to be in 1 too high or 1 too low at times, but anyway, we'll get used to it. Well, we ought to be used to it by now. We've got nearly 10,000 miles on the clock, 9,520. She's just had a service. She's just had a few tweaks, and I'll tell you why. Although I noticed the clutch cable needs taking up a bit. Mind you, it's not slipping and it's not dragging, so it should be about right, give or take. I do like it slightly slack compared to... That is fifth. Slightly slack compared to the standard, because it's easier for hill starts. I've just realised I didn't put my earplugs in. Oh, aye. We're having some new road surface, about time. On Ian Part, hang on. Closed 10th of the 4th. When's the 10th of the 4th? 5 days time, is it? But yeah, oh, it's nice. Don't look a bad job. We'll pull up in a minute and put my earplugs in. But yeah, so Johnny has had a service a couple of 100 miles early after the mammoth efforts last year. But on one of the outings, it was just a bit of a ride around really, at standstill with the engine running, I could feel something I could only describe as catching, and I could feel it through the foot pegs, but I was standing still. It felt very much like you got a brick in the tyre, but I hadn't, because it was standing still. I took it easy. I got can we park the side of this machine? I think we can. I took it easy. We got home. I gave her a wash actually, which is a rarity, because most of the time she only needs a polish. That catching feeling went, and regular viewers will remember maybe the issues I had with the bolt falling out of the primary gear, the front primary gear, on the end of the crank on Smelly, and that was changed. Sorry, it's going to be noisy here. That was a thing, and later on I read that that does happen on those occasionally, and I thought it might be the same with this catching noise stroke feeling. That's been looked at. A new bolt's been put in. There was nothing wrong with the old one. The new bolt had got mashed up threads to start with, so that had to be recut. So a certain independent parts provider for Royal Enfields and others now, of course, south of Brum. That's 2 or 3 issues I've had of, well, not of late, over the last year I suppose. They're still easier to deal with than Royal Enfield through the dealer. Anyway, nothing was found. She's been serviced. I don't think there was anything untoward per se, but I've got to find my earplugs now. There we are, back in a moment. Nice ride out yesterday on Wembley, only 70 miles, but pork pie is involved, and sausage rolls and cake, and that's part of the job today. I'm delivering said sausage rolls and pork pies. So Johnny's generally okay at the moment. She did have a fault, a historical fault, whatever that was, when it was plugged in, on the fuel pump. And again, regular viewers, if you've watched the what am I not doing? Da-da-dee. Hello. Right. Oh, bit of fun there, starting her up. I suppose that's one of the, I won't say downsides, but I don't know if you say a niggle or differences of having several bikes. They all start a little different. This one doesn't like throttle, and with fuel injection, they generally don't, do they? But Webley doesn't like it without throttle, especially when it's a bit well, warm really. The Ducati you don't touch, you just press the button. This one doesn't seem to like throttle, but it's been a while. I haven't been riding much this year at all. Been under the weather for a couple of months. Things are a bit weird, like using the camera, because I'm having fun with that as well, which might be just because it's faulty. It has quite a bit of use, of course. But yeah, so Johnny, carry on with that. Johnny service a fiddle with that bolt that didn't require anything. A few bits were changed at the same time, because you've got to dump the oil and ruin a gasket to get at that bolt. We had a new primary chain of a Reynolds variety, and we also had the new, on the top there's like a plastic runner, not exactly the chain tension of the timing, primary chain tensioner, but we did have a new one of them. It's slightly worn, so while it's apart, they don't cost a great deal. Although, I'll tell you what did cost a great deal, the actual primary chain tensioner required a new O-ring, £7, and it was like, I don't know, it's quite a fat one really, but it was only like, I don't know, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch across. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. Generally nothing really found wrong. I must admit, out of the 3 Indian Royal Enfields, this has got the least positive gearbox. It's a bit lanky, there's quite a bit of travel in the pedal. It does work, it's just a bit weird, whereas the GT is quite snickable, and the Himalayan again is quite snickable. But this is a peach of an engine. Look, just over 60 mile an hour. We're in top, and yes, this thing could do with a 6. It's so torquey, and arguably faster than the GT, I would say. Not that we're talking rocket speed. So I think that's about it for Johnny, except that again, she did a lot of miles last year, and the GT Smelly did 50 according to the MOT. So that is why we are swapping, perhaps a little earlier than usual. And I'm also 70 mile an hour. I'm also testing this GoPro. So if you can hear me okay. It means it's okay, because I'm having fun with the microphone at home. I've got a microphone for voiceovers. It's only another little microphone that same one I've got inside the helmet here. But yesterday, whilst testing, after I was playing around and managed to get no buzzing and generally working, it did feel like it was picking the wind up a little bit. So it may be that the external mics hadn't switched off properly when the external was plugged in. So I've done a bit of cleaning of the contacts, fresh battery, and I thought, well, as I'm testing it, I'll give you a bit of a yak. Not that it's a very enthralling ride, some of it's okay, but this bit, this island, it's Saturday today, this island on a weekday from about 3:15 till probably 7 o'clock 90, nice, is a mad island. But yes, Johnny did sterling work last year. Where's that 90 gone? There we are. And for a bullet, put on some miles, and high speed miles for a bullet. Of course, it's not as high as many machines, but you know, I don't hang about on them. And was it the Suffolk, I think, and Essex, Cambridge, Suffolk and Essex run for the Round Brit Rally last year, which was 467 miles. That's when I had the bike cough a little bit on the A45. I can't remember whether I mentioned it in the next video, but of that series. But Yeah, it coughed, so I backed off. I was doing about 65 at the time, but it's so dark on the A45. I just got fed up with the M1, so I cut across, circumvented Birmingham and back to the southwest of the West Midlands. Whether that was to do with that fuel pump historic fault, we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to overtake, but there's no real need. I'm going on the motorway, which is a little dull. It's not the worst motorway, the M5, although it was yesterday because both lanes were closed at this area for a couple of hours. See if my mirror stays still. At 70 it'll start moving, the right hand mirror, and going up to the sky, although sticking blue tack in the ball joint seems to have worked, at least while it's not too hot. I think it's about 17 today. Johnny's cracking machine. Even my spanner monkey, when I can't be bothered, Triumph Tech Lee Bayliss, he seemed quite I won't say enamoured, because he's a Triumph bloke, and we do have a lot of jovial banter between us over a cup of tea and a cake at times, or biscuits, usually biscuits. And after the service he did take it out and about around his the perimeter of his place, and I think overall he quite liked the bike, but didn't like the seat with the springs. You do have to get used to that. Like, oh, I'm falling off the back. But once you are used to that, it is comfortable. Like that warm bath, that bath that's a bit too hot and then it's just right, and you go, ah. And my most comfortable bike, actually, of the ones I use regularly. I'm going to give a shout out to all the folks who are having a go at this year's Get Out There challenge. It's been a very much of a slow burner over the years. I think 2017 was the first one. This year we have got already 9 people doing it, and the top sort of half a dozen places are all quite close. And if you're interested in that, go to the 4x4 Travels Facebook page and look in the featured section. It's the second post in the featured section at the moment, and you can do it on any bike, any British scooter, any Land Rover up to 2016, and a trike. I like organising it, but it makes it worthwhile doing it when people get enjoyment out of it. And yes, somebody's going to win, but nobody is going to win anything. Maybe a home brewed trophy. That's been quite normal for the last 2 or 3 years, but nothing. There's no funding. I fund it all myself, so the research starts online, and then sometimes we go out, we have to go out to confirm. Other times we don't, we're lucky. It's not been too bad this year, or rather it's not been too bad this year for the research for next year, which is progressing well, although I've still got about another 30 to 35 counties to check. But you won't know what that is until after the end of this one for the theme. But there is a theme, it has been chosen, and it's coming together quite nicely. Right, let's get on with it a little bit. We ain't got much farther to go on this, well, we're up to the M6 now very shortly. So by all means give that a go, link down below, free to enter. And the thing is a Get Out There challenge. The challenge is really to get out there. Well, indeed, somebody will come first. But I think generally people like the idea of firstly getting out there, and maybe to some new, different places, which is what it's all about. I've today just completed my Round Britain Rally overview map, so I can have a good idea where they am. I've noted all 50 locations that are in England, and come on pal, if you're in the way of a bullet you're going slow. Right, So yeah, I've done that overview map, but I'll talk about more of the Round Britain Rally when I can, really, because I can't mention anything to do with the clues, really, or anything to do with it online. I was on the Round Britain Rally Facebook page. I've come off it because of the restrictions. I can't get involved, not really, so if I can't get involved, what's the point of being on it? And the only people who can see the clues are the ones, or rather enter the competitions, are the one who paid. So I suppose it don't really matter whether you got the clues or not. If you ain't paid, you ain't getting in, but yeah, that's their rules, I suppose. I think it'd be better because it was a little bit more freedom, because it would advertise it better, or make it easier to advertise it and promote it. Mind you, I think there was 160 odd people had a go last year, so they've probably got more than enough to be going on with. And of course, with no national road rallies this year, there's going to be a few more doing it, I should think. The nice thing about it, you've got more time, although it's quite a late start this year. It hasn't started yet. This junction's always a pain in the backside. Well, the junction isn't, it's the drivers. You know, take your time, keep your eyes out. I suppose this chap did take his time, but he could have done it a little bit more smoothly. Let's go up this road here, Beacon Road. We're just outside, a few miles outside Waffle, really, between Perrybar and Waffle. This used to be a nice little... It's bad now, but it used to be really bad a road. It isn't I think it's an adopted road. It's got a name, but it doesn't say unadopted, I don't think. But it's been worse than this over the years. But occasionally I'll come up here in Dirty Harry, and I come up here in the snow once. Of course, it's no bother to Dirty Harry, and it's no bother to Johnny. Not with these hiding-house on, which are lasting quite well, much better than expected, and should be fine at least until next year, 2026, because I can't see Johnny doing too much this year. Although I may swap again May Day Bank Holiday, because there's a bit of a do-on at the National Motorcycle Museum, including a bit of a auto jumble, which I think is something to do with Yeoman's classic bikes. What was George Yeoman's? They've moved now, but they used to be down in Bell Broughton, near enough, in North Worcestershire. And don't quote me on this, just check out on the National Motorcycle Museum website. There is, I think, half-price admissions, and the grub's good. I do appreciate that for some folks, if you're in the West Midlands, the ride to the National Motorcycle Museum is not a pretty one. It can be all motorway. You can do, if you go around from South West Midlands and head round towards I suppose Solihull, through the sticks like Redditch area and across that way heading east, it's not too bad at all. But yeah, some places, like if you're in I don't know, say if you're in Wolverhamptonish area, I mean, yeah, it can be a bit of a bind, but it's well worth the effort, especially if you've never been. And by some standards, I think, again, check, I think it was 14 quid last time I paid to go in, which might have been a few years ago now, actually. But some attractions are so pricey now, it's a bit of a put off. But I thought it was quite reasonable. But one year I was bought a year's membership to the Friends of the Museum, and I should do it again, really, because then you get free entry every time you want to go. And the other thing is, of course, if you do want to just stop there for the shop or the little sort of coffee shop cafe there, you'd have to pay to get in anyway, which is handy. And I've used that myself last year, as I said, on the RBR to the Cambridgeshire one, and there was another one as well, Hertford, I think, but you can watch all that if you like, and it's got its own playlist. I think there's 11 episodes. Starts in Shropshire, I think it is. No, tell a lie, Staffordshire. and the last episode is Derbyshire. Yes, we went to Matlock, and yes, we had fish and chips. This is, by the way, this is a handy little cut-off road. This is Skip Lane, and it does feature in the Great Drives and Rides series. It is a pleasant lane, except for the fly tippers, which can be quite, shall we say, inconsiderate of them. But it can be a very beautiful lane, especially in about a month's time when the trees are fully grown over. But yeah, there's some gits who fly tip. But from a logistical point of view, that's a big word, wasn't it? It means you can get round to the north of Walsall from the M6 without going into Walsall, or going round the ring road at Walsall. A little bit of a dodgy-ish junction here. It's alright with these mirrors, they're pretty good. Just over my right shoulder at Christmas time, there's a very nice tree lit up in one of the front gardens. On a day like today, I've got some of my vents open, and I've got a jumper on, but that's more because I can't carry much on this bike. I wouldn't have wore it if I was on Webley. Oh yeah, talking of Webley, again, this is ended up being a general catch-up, but if somebody has or can loan me an M10 1.5 taper tap, I'd be much appreciated, because I can't find one separate. I've got to buy a big set to get one, and it's to make a new bracket for one of the panniers on Webley that has fallen off last year when I was up in the Lake District, or on the M6 probably, up that way. It fell off. There's two brackets per side and one of them fell off, and they don't sell them as a separate part. Royal Enfield in the past have been very good, and when I needed a new frames for the panniers, they got some from a damaged set of panniers. The frames were alright and sold them to me, which is great because I didn't have to buy the full set. There's nothing wrong with panniers. But this time, and I suppose since it's not MotoGB distributed anymore, it was just no, got nothing like that. And I thought, oh, okay, sod you, you know. I'm making my own. It took me ages to find some steel suitable. I had to buy a metre of it when I need about 2 inch of it. Then I couldn't find me good files. Well, to be honest, one good file. Couldn't find me hacksaw. Then I found me hacksaw. Then I went to a local tool merchant, which is not the same tool merchant as it was, say, a couple of years ago, really. They was really good for odds and ends. You could get Imperial stuff and separate stuff, but not now. If you want to buy an M10 tap, you've got to buy a big set. It's unusual to get traffic down here. There's something going on, maybe. We're not far from Aldridge, really. We're going to go head towards, oh, I can never get it right which one it is. I'm going to head towards Cannock shortly, but hello, some horses, quite a few horses, hence the traffic, I suppose. People going slow. Yeah, looks like it. So we'll be going towards, oh, let's have a stab at it, Rushall first, then Pelsall, if I got it right. We're going to be going past the finger post, quite a famous finger post, at least around these parts and probably the West Midlands, and passing the new bridge, well, what's been built of it, over the canal there, just past the finger post pub, and towards the A5. I must admit, I'm enjoying myself. It's a very pleasant time to be out. Perhaps a bit less traffic than there would be earlier in the day. It's not too hot, although with no cloud it's going to go cold tonight. I wonder if that was second or third. Second, I think. You do sort of, I suppose it's a bit like driving Dirty Harry, my Land Rover. You get away with a higher gear in the Land Rover due to the torquiness of the engine. So turning like that at a junction like that, 90 degrees, most, say a small car, you'd be in second, it'd be third, and it's a bit like that with this. Perhaps not quite, but it's so torquey indeed. A bit like me today on this video. If it's like this down the southwest of the country, they've had a good day for the southwest peninsula. And I suppose now I'm thinking, well, should have done it now, but yeah, it's a long way to go down when you're not quite as fit as you'd like to be. It would have been alright once you get down there, but there's a bit of a trek down the M5 to get there, and of course back. And I did have a look for somewhere to stay at least one day, either before or after the rally. But there ain't nothing really much down there that ain't extortionate locally to the start and finish point. I think the one place around the corner, and it was around the corner, was at 250 quid. I thought, well, that's all very well. It's like 130 quid more than I'd want to pay, but I wouldn't even be having the breakfast because I've got to get up early and out. Plane up there. Probably going to Brummagem International. Yeah, it's been a slow start to the riding this year. Last year and the year before I hardly stopped throughout the winter. Don't ride as much, of course, but I remember one particular cool day going to Ironbridge having a hot pasty. It was a rough one earlier in the year, but we get in there thanks to the NHS. Although I will say, at a local level, very local level to the NHS, it took about 4 or 5 GPs to do anything about it. But the local hospital, very rapid, and I have to say very interesting. I won't tell you where the camera went, and it's not pleasant, but it's interesting. I would say it's better than much of the stuff on the telly these days, including my own videos. That ain't hard, is it? Lovely day. It's a sort of day, although it's going to get cold in an hour or so's time, whatever that is now. My clock stopped at some point just before 5 to 1. Cheap to have a new clock than a battery, I suppose. But yeah, it's other days you can just carry on and on and on and on. I don't know where. You just carry on and on and on. Actually, I do know where. It's one of, let's be honest, 3 places. Yes, I will say, I'll just say not in any necessary order, but it is. It is really Cumbria, Yorkshire, or the South Shropshire Hills. And Yorkshire, of course, is a much bigger place than the other 2. And there are many places, and we've just come back from a trip up there in Dirty Harry, Yorkshire and Cumbria. But yeah, it's one of them where I can just keep going, it's beautiful. Yeah, I'll come up to Pelsall. How often do you see this much greenery in generally an urban area? Oh, okay, we're just pulling out of it really, but this is coming up to Pelsall. Look at all that greenery. Well used, and doesn't seem to be abused either. Unlike some places by me, like Clent. Again, it's not the places, it's certain individuals. And sometimes they have the fair here and the circus. They always have a memorial service come Remembrance Sunday. Although I do question, by the memorial, they've got a couple of the trees lit up. One's lit up with quite a bright red lamp and the other one's green. And it's a bit disconcerting at night. But yeah, there's the War Memorial, and a rather nice signpost there as well. Look, right. Lovely. Not many of them around the West Midlands. Although there's 2. Although one's been renovated, I think, with fiberglass fingers now. The next one, which is it is a delightful one. It's like half a mile up the road. Oh, and there's I've just passed it. There's a really nice memorial the other side. Did have a Spitfire, cut out steel Spitfire. Not a bad ride at all. Somebody's smoking something they shouldn't be. There's the nice signpost. My Hero 5 died on me. It had quite a lot of use. My first Hero 8 didn't last very long. That died on me. If and when this Hero 8 dies, I should be at the very least trialling a Ghost 4K that I bought 4 or 5 years ago, and just about everything I needed for it, except a sucker mount, which I forgot. I know it probably ain't going to be as good image stabilisation and probably slightly less image quality, and really image quality is everything, but I bought it. I'll probably give it a go, and it may replace my very old GoPro, which you know, the internal battery doesn't last as long now, but it's still going on, you know, 2 or 3 hours. But that once you've set it up, that Ghost 4K with the internal battery and the external one you can add on, 6 hours of recording, as long as your card's up to it, of course. So yeah, sooner or later that's going to be used, and yes, I've already bought it, I've already paid for it, so I'll use it, but I ain't buying another GoPro. Okay, they're probably still the best overall. There's a lot of competition now, of course. You do have to watch it down here. This is Limes Lane, and the deer, probably not this time of year, but in the winter, because the tarmac tends to hold the heat more than the depths of the woods, only a little bit more, they tend to come to the road, especially when there's salt about. And I have seen 1 or 2 down here, because we're right by the Cannock Chase now, which is quite extensive. It is a bit split up around these parts, because you've got the A5 going through some of it, but there's little bits like this here, well, a bit more than a little bit, coming up to the canal now, which I think is the Cannock Extension Canal, which is not as extended as it once was, because it ends at the A5, but we're going to go over it very shortly. It's on our left here now, very popular with fishing, and over the canal we go. Let's look to the right. I'll look, but you can look. I'll look later. I'll turn, I should say. Bit of a marinery boating repairs place, and this floods like something else, this road. It's fine on well, not too bad on this, really. Not too bad on Webley, and it's certainly not too bad with Tertiary, but some people risk it. The trouble is, it's so dark at night here, it catches people out. But anyway, enough waffle. I think that's tested the GoPro more than enough. And whatever you're doing, I do hope you have a go at our Get Out There challenge, link down below. You're more than welcome. It might take me a bit longer to do the scores updates, because it's all done manually. If there is, there's quite a few now doing it by normal standards. There's about twice as many as normal, which is great. It's great. But bear with me, and yeah, more than welcome. It's I think it's largely, well, it is largely, there's no largely about it, it is being enjoyed by everybody doing it at the moment. There's been a couple of changes, because one of the shops has closed, and it's a different shop now where one of the post boxes is, but we've sorted that. Right folks, that's it for now, but happy to bring you along for the ride. Bye for now.